4th and goal to go to 2. 34 seconds left to go in the ball game. This is the play right now. Takes the snap. Targeted goes in. Targeted all alone. And the quarterback keeps. Wow, what a call. Nobody touched him.
Here is Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
Now, I did see this here. The Giants might be better than expected. Now, I always like seeing these feel-goods, right? The last story I got here is kind of a little feel-good story, too. But I always like enjoying seeing little articles, right? Because there's always plenty of negativity when it comes to the New York Football Giants. So I always like to see something that, gives you a little bit of, maybe a little ray of sunshine going into the season, right? So why might the Giants... So some surprising data gives hope that the 2025 New York Giants might be better than expected. Giants aren't necessarily doomed because they have the toughest strength of schedule, the new data suggests. All right. New York Giants general manager Joe Schoen vastly made over the team's roster this offseason, the goal being to improve last year's underperforming group, whose lack of depth was badly exposed once injuries hit. But some might argue that it doesn't matter given the Giants' difficult schedule of opponents, which, thanks to the strength of schedule metric, makes it the most difficult of the 32 teams this year. But the Giants' difficult schedule doesn't automatically spell doom. According to NFL research, 4 of the past 5 teams who entered the 2024 season with what was deemed as an easy schedule missed the playoffs. Four of the past 5 teams who entered the 2024 season with what's deemed as an easy schedule missed the playoffs. They talk about the 2024 Saints, the 2024 Falcons, the 2023 Falcons, and the 2022 Commanders. So I'm not exactly sure what they're talking about here. 4 of the past 5 years. No, 4 of the past, I don't know. On the other hand, the 2023 Eagles and the 2021 Steelers, both of whom had the most challenging schedules ahead of those seasons, made the postseason. So also there's a thing here is that you're talking about teams that had easy schedules didn't make the postseason. Okay. Now, I do know the Falcons' schedule last year was supposed to be really easy. They didn't make the postseason. Right? But as I said, on the other hand, the 2023 Eagles and the 2021 Steelers, both of whom had the most challenging schedules ahead of the season, made the postseason. So that's not enough reason to inspire hope that head coach Brian Daboll and his staff can shape the current 90-man roster into a competitive group. Consider that there is a 25-season streak in which at least 4 teams, this is true, qualified for the playoffs after missing out the year before. Every year. There's always, there's always new teams coming. I mean, because a lot of times it's like, the team made the playoffs last year, whatever. Whoever, Steelers. I mean, it's kind of hard to say the Steelers. Steelers every year win, and so it's kind of tough. But you look at certain teams like, okay, they made the playoffs last year, so they'll make the playoffs again this year. No, it's not the way it works out. So when I was growing up, right, in the 70s, every year the Cowboys made it. There was a certain period, the Raiders made it every year, right? Once 72 rolled around, the Steelers made it all the time. Certain teams that every freaking year made the play. The Vikings every year kept winning the division, kept going to play. Every year it was same freaking teams. The Dolphins were really good. Once from 70 to 75, I think the Dolphins made the playoffs every year. It's just like, and of course then the Redskins, once George Allen got, look at his thumbs and all that, from 72 to 77, I think they made the playoffs 4 or 5 times. And then in the 80s when Gibbs was there, the Redskins were really good every year. So of course then you got with Wall with the 49ers, right? They were in the playoffs almost like every year in the 80s. So you go back in time. The real good teams always rose to the same almost every year. Lombardi and the Packers, right? They made the playoff. That was 60, 61, 62, 63, and 64. No, but 65, 66, 67. Then Lombardi retired from being a coach with the Packers. But I mean, like every year, the Browns, from 50 to 50, actually from 50 to 57, they made it every year to the championship game, except in 56. So it's like the back and it's like the good teams every year, almost the same teams every year. Yeah. Now it's not. It's not. It's because now there's obviously they want parity, right? And they get it. There's always teams, obviously every year. That teams that come out of nowhere that make the playoffs. Some teams come up for 1 year and say, "Oh wow, look at that team. They're good. They'll be in the playoffs next year." Then you never see them again, right? Further, at least one team has won its division this season after missing the playoffs in 53 of 55 seasons since the AFL-NFL merger in 1970. Once again, at least one team has won its division this season after missing the playoffs in 53 of 55 seasons since the merger. Can the 2025 Giants be the latest team to prove the strength of schedule theory is bogus and do well enough to get back to the postseason? As the data from NFL research showed, it's not impossible, but it's certainly going to take a lot more in terms of playing disciplined ball and making the plays that in the past have eluded the Giants. That a few of the things, right? They got to win these close games. We had so many one-score games last year. I think we won one. We were like 1 out of 8, 1 and 8, or something like that. And the difference was, right, in 2022, we were winning all those one-score games. And what happened? We were 9-7-1. Went to the playoffs. We were finding ways to win those one-score games. Past 2 seasons haven't. I said last year, I think we were 1 and 8. Or something like that. We couldn't find, when the score was close, we could not find a way to win a game. That's one. And the other one is injuries. I mean, obviously no coach is going to say, well, we were injured. So, nobody's going to say it. It's always next man up. Yeah. That's all they're ever going to say. Nobody's going to, put any excuses or anything on injuries. But the Giants, once again, injured last year, especially on the offensive line. That really hurt them. Now, were they going to make the playoffs? Probably not. But, injuries. So, but, that's why they play the games. That's why they play to see. You have no idea. If you knew what was going to happen, what the final score was going to be, why bother playing the game? Right. So, anything's possible. And the one thing I love about right now, right, is everybody's 0-0. Everybody's no wins and everybody's tied for first place. Everybody has their Super Bowl aspirations. All these Giant fans are like, the offensive line can gel together. We get that running game going, and we, and Wilson can hit some long passes deep that'll open stuff underneath. Maybe we can start scoring some more points, and with that good defense, maybe we can win a few more games. I don't know. It might be our season, So. I always love, this time of the season because we haven't lost any games yet, and training camp hasn't started yet, so we haven't lost any players yet due to injury. I'm just waiting for that shoe to drop.